Hello viewers, welcome to our program on immigration and you. I am your immigration attorney Michael Fulwani, and once again we have with us attorney David Nachman.
Thanks so much. Good morning, Michael.
I think the most important thing for today is to tell them about our upcoming trip to India. As a matter of fact, when you are looking at this program, we might already be in India.
Right. We're actually in India now. And we should remind our viewers that if they have any friends or family members who have any particular questions or issues with regard to the consulates in India, that they should feel free to email to us. We are responding, of course, to our emails, and we can set up meetings with them in our affiliated office in Mumbai. We'll be traveling to several U.S. consulates and meeting with the consular officers there. We'll be in Mumbai. We'll be meeting with the consular officers in Chennai, in Hyderabad, and also in New Delhi. And we do this every year. And we have an opportunity to discuss with the consular officers the protocols, their processes, and how we can utilize their processes and discuss the information with our viewers so that they can best understand how the consular processing works.
Actually, most of the consular officers welcome information from us. They want to know how people look at us, what kind of problems people have in visa processing, and based upon that, they also get some information. They are looking for some input.
That's right. It's like a litmus test for them.
Yeah, litmus test.
Yeah.
So some of the issues that we plan to talk to them this time, coming from you guys, and we can always say that, invite any more questions or more information or topics from you that we can include on our list. And some of the things that we see here that need to be discussed are, number one is communication.
Yes.
Until recently, the outsourcing company, a VFS, was there, and I would say things were pretty good, not that bad. And with the new change, there's a new agency that is now replaced the VFS.
Right, and we're just sort of getting a feel now.
Get a feeling now that something is missing there, some link is missing, that the consuls don't want to take any papers, mostly consul doesn't want to, everything has to come through that outsourcing company. An outsourced agency probably hasn't dealt with for more time like VFS for so many years, they knew exactly, they were conversant. They just started, and probably they need a more training, more information, more guidance as to how they should interact with the public and how that information then goes to the consulate. As a result of what is happening is that they are going by the book the way that initially was told to them. I'll give an example. I had a case where the American consul said, give a joint sponsor for 864 because the income of the person was not good. Mm-hmm. So that was fine. A few months went by, New Year came in, and this in New Year, the petitioners, the main sponsor's income is no good. So we sent the papers in to this agency, but he said, where's the joint sponsor? We said, but we don't need a joint sponsor because now the petitioner's income is
sufficient.
More than sufficient.
Right.
No. The letter says,
right,
joint sponsor.
Right.
I said, but see, the common sense is that, so what they should have done, they could pick up the phone and talk to the consul and ask them, this is the situation, shall we accept or not, if they are not sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were able to somehow, after 2 or 3 times our office in Mumbai was able to convince them that you just send it, consul knows what to do, consul will accept that, we know that, and we're dealing with a law firm and we have done the right job. They're like, okay, all right. So they accept. What I'm saying is that there has to be more efficiency in also getting information. When we used to send emails to the consulates before, we used to get within 24 hours, 2 days, 1 day. Mm-hmm. Now all that generally has to go through that agency.
Right.
And they just respond, still pending, or something like that.
Right. Well, they're going by their protocols and they're going by the book, and still, it's a very painful process when we hear that our clients are stuck in administrative processing because we have to try to figure out why it is that the case is stuck for administrative processing, and that's a very difficult thing too because we're not getting that from the outside organization. We need to connect with the consular officials because they're the ones who are able to best give us those legal answers.
I've seen some instances where, Section 220G, I think, says that if a person does not pursue the case, immigrant visa, for more than a year, he has been told to bring some information, documents, or pay the fees or whatever, and there's a 1 year limit within which they should do that.
Right.
And if they don't do that, they send them a notice to terminate, maybe 1 more year they may get. But again, with this agency, what is happening, that somehow there is something missing. Some papers were submitted also, but they are not linking to the files, and it's still terminating.
Right.
Why you are terminating? Was 3 months ago, I gave all the papers what you wanted. Now this goes, then you go on back and forth and trying to solve those things, which normally could be resolved if there was immediately acting on that. So this is and that's another message also. Those people who have applied for an immigrant visa, they are in the line. Make sure you keep watching, because if you some people just file a petition approved, and one client said that, 10 years ago he filed the petition, he hasn't got the interview yet. What do you mean?
Right. So
what do you mean interview?
Right.
You're not gone through the NVC processing, and he said, did you get some letter from NVC? I don't know, something I got, I didn't realize, I just kept it on a side.
Right. And Michael, I think this is a good time to point out to our viewers that recently the U.S. Department of State reported a new portal that's available where you can actually input the case numbers and you can see what's going on with the cases that are pending at the U.S. consulates abroad. That's
very nice, very good. Only if they update also.
That's correct.
See, that the same thing I'm saying.
Well,
if
the computer is only as good as the program.
On a case like that, I talked about the affidavit of support or something, they will put in, it will say it's still pending. Because the consul hasn't got, or even the consul might have got it, but they had not been updated.
Right.
So then the person will say, oh my God, 3 months ago I gave the papers, why are they still pending? Why is still pending? So this is a kind of issues that we hope that when we bring to the attention of the consular officer, probably they will understand. That's they want to know. Anything going wrong, anything that you see that we should really be improving. So
exactly.
That is the whole purpose of that.
Exactly. And so what we are encouraging our viewers to do is that if you have particular concerns or questions with regard to consular processing issues that may be thorns in your side or concerns of yours over time, please feel free to email them to us. Again, we'll be in New Delhi at the very end of January. We'll be in Hyderabad at the early part of February, then also in Chennai the early part of February, and then back in Mumbai at the end of the first week in February. So please send us your emails. Let us know what your concerns are, and let us see what we can do to try to let the officers at the consulates know what the public thinks about the process.
221G, immigrant visas I'm talking mostly, even non-immigrants, but right now I'm talking immigrant visas. Consul, for some reason, cannot complete the case. He will deny under 221G. In cases where the consul needs missing papers, that paper will say, submit
It'll
the
tell
following.
us what they're looking for.
Yeah, but that's okay. But there are times there is nothing at all, just 221G denial. Now,
Right.
So what you need, certain things they won't tell, I understand. If they are investigating a case, they are not going to say investigation. So that could be a reason.
Right.
Right? Sometimes there's security clearance, that the name is hit, like, they have the list of cases where they have to get a clearance from FBI and Department of State.
Right. That's right.
However, I'm saying we as attorneys with a lot of experience get some feeling. Did you go for an interview? What happened in the interview? What you said, what they said? They said 1%, everything is complete, we don't need anything, just have to wait for some time. So that gives me an indication of a security clearance, because they just take a fingerprint and they are waiting.
That's right. But each case is different, just because it's under administrative processing. I think this is the point you're making, Michael, is that when your case is under administrative processing, it doesn't necessarily mean the same thing for every case.
Exactly.
It could be different from case to case.
Because from the facts and the interview, we get, looks like this is under investigation. The divorce issue and the question they were asking, where is your ex-wife and something like that. That means they have doubts about the divorce or doubts about the marriage, and they want to conduct an investigation.
Right.
Okay, that's understandable. So far, everything fine. This is the way 221G works. But then, what's the problem there? Investigation, 3 months go by, 6 months go by, 8 months go by, 9 months go by, people go to senators, congressmen, and they'll get a standard letter from counsel. Sir, this matter is still pending administrative processing. Even to the senator, they are not going to tell what. But I'm saying it should be resolved in a reasonable amount of time, because here we get separation, husband is in India, wife is here, children are here, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, his job is gone, he is not able to, So there's something that they should be speeding up the investigations.
Well, the hardest thing, Michael, is getting the information from the U.S. consulate about why the case is under administrative processing.
Sometimes
There has to be an interface. There has to be
Interface.
a way. Right. There has to be an interface. There has to be a way to get that information through their database, or there has to be a clearer stream of information to the public about why these cases are under administrative
I'm
processing.
telling you, there were some cases in the past that counsel will give a hint, but that I will give a little bit, that this relates to verification of the qualifying relationship, something like that.
Right.
So we understand that means they are looking at investigation. This is a
Right,
issue
but then you know what type of
And
documentation
that-
that you
talk
need
the
to
client
get to them.
And I think they are
Exactly,
looking at the
to
bona
prove
fides of the
case.
marriage or something like
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
But they must, I think there's a Department of State cable on that. I know that they should give some information that would help the applicant to submit the documents and information that is required, or their attorney representation, then the attorneys can assist them in a meaningful way.
Well, one of the most frustrating things, Michael, and I think you would agree with me, is oftentimes what you might encounter is that an officer is making an incorrect determination at a certain level, and you're trying to escalate it to a supervisor who could look at that other officer and say, okay, but there's another way to look at it. And that's very difficult, but it requires an attorney to help them to get it to the level that they need it for appropriate processing.
Right.
And that's where I think that our value added comes in, or the value added of any legal counselor who's assisting with consular processing at the consulates abroad.
Also, some people complain, and that is something we want to verify whether that's true or not. But maybe there's something there, maybe not to the extent that the person is complaining, but some people say that there is some kind of harassment or some kind of pressure that we know that your marriage is false. So you did not get married on such and such date or whatever. Give me a statement in writing, then we'll consider the case. And if you don't write it, then you will not see America for 99 years. Now, they come under pressure and they think, he's willing to give me a visa. I just say, okay, this problem was there, but now whatever it is. So that is something that we need to discuss with them, whether that is something that really happens, and if that happens, it should not happen.
Yeah, I think that I agree, Michael, and I think that one of the things that's exciting about this trip to India for us is that the consular officers actually reached out for us proactively and asked us to provide them with information about certain cases that we've had problems with. I don't think that I saw that in the past. So that shows that they're really trying to do their best possible job.
I think this is a very important topic, very subject. I think we should cover some of the remaining items in our next program next week. Make sure to watch us, and we'll discuss more about these issues that happen sometime in the consular post, which we will be discussing with the consular officers in our trip. David, thank you very much for coming on the program, and thanks all of you for watching the program. Please keep watching us every Saturday and Sunday on ITV and Vision Avisha. Thank you.